So this next one is all about environment. This next one I call intelligent interspaces. So we all know about an interface. Everyone acknowledges the reason that Google got successful over Yahoo was not actually just about really that faster. It was because of their interface, which is it was simpler to use. That a lot of reasons that people use Facebook instead of MySpace was because the interface was simpler and easier. So an interface is two-dimensional. It's a face where we connect with the technology. An interspace is three-dimensional. It's when we're actually going into an environment. So here's an image from America from this year of a Starbucks where the entire glass is now intelligent, and before you've even gone into the store, you can book what you want to order from the glass. You can see what they have, what they don't have, and if you have a mobile phone and you're a member, it already knows who you are and says hello as you walk past. So this is the way things are now moving, and you can see there's a child with a drawing board, digital drawing board, which is again, speaking to him and becomes his best friend. There's a doctor who's now using technology in a very different way, and here is the fastest selling product ever in history, the Kinect, which is from Microsoft, and it's more than anything, it's overtaken iPhone, overtaken iPad. This is from this year. It's sold over 10 million units since it launched. And it's in the Guinness Book of Records now for the fastest selling of any product. And kind of interesting that this is something which starts as a game, but now is being used to sense motion because it doesn't require you to hold any connector. It just senses your motion and knows where you're at. So they're actually looking for applications of this into retail stores and pretty much everywhere. But here we have people dancing with cats on one of their games. And this means that even your home becomes a robot. This is from August 18th. Your next home will be a robot, where all the servers, sensors, all the wireless aspects that we have out there, we already know that today more robots access the internet than human beings do already because of this ability for us to sense and track others. Here's a little video which was created by Microsoft a year ago of what our world will be like within 3 years from now, by 2014. So this video was put together by them. This is not the far future. This is the very, very near future of what we'll be living in. So what information would you want to collect on your customer such that even when they showed up to meet you, already there was information within that? And when we start looking at this idea of interspaces, what is the world you want to wake up to every day when you actually wake up in the morning and show up? Because before lunch, I'm going to introduce you to a new place, which is called the future, but it's a very real place. And I have this little concept here, which you might have heard before, but which I'm going to kind of bring to life for you, which is called future presence. Because by lunchtime, you're going to be able to see and measure what is your future presence. And the image that you see up there on the screen is an image of Ray Kurzweil when he was doing a TED Talk back in, I think, about 2003. and the person who is on the other side of him is a virtual avatar called Ramona. And the whole story here is that Ray wanted to share with people this concept of telepresence. So telepresence is where you're actually experiencing being somewhere different. You can put goggles on, and if you have someone in Rome who has the same goggles on, and when you turn left, they turn left, you turn right, then you actually feel like you're in Rome. And within 5 minutes, you forget you're actually still in here in London with goggles on. You actually feel that you're actually in Rome. And so you become somebody else. So he wanted to demonstrate this to the audience, and his technicians thought they'd play a bit of a practical joke on him. And so they gave his avatar, rather than just being a man like him, the attributes of a woman, sexy woman, with a sexy voice, sultry voice. And so when he was on stage and he put on the goggles and he started talking, then what came out was the voice of this sexy woman. And when he looked over, he saw this sexy woman kind of like there having her conversation. When he moved, then she was moving, and all this kind of stuff was happening. And he was telling the story when we were at Singularity University. He was there and he was telling us a story about this. And he was saying, you know, I knew that telepresence has this power that when you're in a different place, you experience being there. But here I was being in a different body, and I experienced being Ramona. And I actually felt like Ramona, and I actually started to feel feminine and to get sexy with my voice and to move differently, and I kind of liked it. And it kind of worried me. And it's so fascinating how quickly, when we actually use technology to shift who we are, we shift who we are. When we spend our whole life going out and paying lots of money for books and events and other things to try and shift who we are. And then we just go and then we're suddenly someone different, and there we are. Every great leader, entrepreneur, futurist has exactly the same experience, but rather than them actually putting themselves in a place which is a different place, to be a body which is a different body, they're putting themselves in a different time. Steve Jobs lives in the future. It isn't like he says, I hope this takes off. He knows it's going to take off. He knows, he just hopes he's part of that, but he can see where it's all moving already. And it's almost like every day they're waking up and they're seeing this future. I've been having this experience myself of every day seeing things in the news and just being able to take it totally contextually with where things are moving. Because you're in the future looking back and you're saying, well, of course that would happen there, and of course that people would ignore, whereas this one here is going to definitely grow. And it's not rocket science when you are on a river and you know that the water in that river is obviously going to go downstream. So this concept of future presence is, to what extent are you putting yourself in that future space where it is actually quite easy for you to envision what's happening, because you're already coming from the future. You're already in 2020. You're already in 2030. You're seeing things the way, of course, it would be, and then you're looking backwards from there. Frankly, every great business, that's how they design any successful product, is they already envisage it as it is when it's out there, and then knowing what it is they need to do differently. You've got the London 2012 Olympics, which of course means they've got to sit there and look and say, well, what will this whole thing work like if it's going to work perfectly? And then they work backwards from there. And most of us aren't doing that enough, even with the products and the services we're delivering to our customers today. Even more than what would my products and services look like, what would my customer look like in the future? How has their life changed as a result of doing business with me? What are they now saying about me that they weren't saying before? What is that customer that I'm helping to design based on what I'm up to today? And how would me doing this instead of that actually affect that vision I have of my customer and what they'd be saying about me and the goodwill they have for me as well? So this future presence we're going to come back to. I'm going to go through this next 2 waves, and then we're going to do a test. It's going to test before lunchtime, because we're moving towards lunchtime now. And this test will give you an actual percentage future presence based on a number of questions, much of them linked to what we've been talking about this morning.